Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 11th episode of the Grief Hour podcast. I am here with Vic. How are you doing, Vic?
What's up?
Any fun things for you this weekend?
Oh, buddy, I put in a lovely 60 hours and 6 days at work, so they gave me the weekend off, and I spent it with Haley, and we just kind of chilled and relaxed and had a little bit of fun, that's all. Watched a lot of football.
Oh, same. Lots of football.
Wonderful week. Gotta love Wildcard Weekend. What about you, Alex?
Well, I went out to Wausau and went on a little snowboarding trip with some friends. That was a good time. Yeah.
Always fun.
Yeah.
I gotta get into that at some point. I always said I wanted to, never did.
It's fun, but man, this is the second time I've gone, and I was way better this time than I was the last time. But the first time I went, my hips hurt so bad because I fell so many times.
It happens, man.
Yep.
Just gotta keep going, though.
Yeah, just gotta keep going, and we gotta keep going here at this podcast. So, just a reminder for everyone here, if you wanna look at the slider below for chapters, you can skip to your favorite segment of the podcast. And, Vic, how about you lead us into our next segment here?
Of course, we gotta head on to our first and best topic, Alex, our quick chats. And we're lacking. We need more input from our viewers with our hashtag quick chats down in the comments down below. So instead, I've got a question for you, Alex. I'd like to ask you, when is the next stream, and when or what will be our first community/Discord game and stream night?
Ooh, good question. As for the streams, the issue I've ran into this past week was had to kind of catch up on the editing for this podcast and a few of the Let's Play videos, so I kind of got swamped with that. But I'm hoping to do a stream this week for sure. And then Discord community night, I am thinking about downloading that Goose Goose Duck game, and I think I'm going to put that in the Discord and see if we can get any takers to play it with us.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun time.
And just as a reminder, everyone, join the Discord, guys. It'll be in the description down below, if Alex remembers. Otherwise, it's in the comments on the last episode. Yours truly put it there. You're welcome.
Yeah, I might have dropped the ball on that one. And speaking of dropping balls, let's talk about some basketball, shall we? So first topic here in our basketball segment, some people are saying that this may be the most competitive season of the NBA we've had in quite a few years. Because I know in years past, we've had big heavy hitters where, the Warriors are guaranteed to win 60-some games, or LeBron on the Cleveland Cavaliers when they were a powerhouse. Very top-heavy league, leading to a lot of very bad teams too. But this year it's a little different. In the Western Conference, only 6 games separate the third place team from 11th. Apparently the Lakers are only 2 games back from the 6th seed now, and they started the season out at the bottom of the West. And then the other thing that's been going on is there's been a lot of really weird heavy favorite teams losing to bad teams. So you and I, Celtics and Bucks fans, Celtics lost to the Thunder recently by 33, and then you had the Bucks losing to the Hornets by 29. So there's definitely been some big teams that are taking their lumps.
Well, I mean, the good point is we're not losing to the Rockets or somebody bad like that. I mean, the Thunder at least are a respectable young team, and they've looked honestly pretty decent this year.
Yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been very good this season.
Oh yeah, and the Hornets too, both young, very, very decent teams.
Young teams tend to get hot at random times too.
They do, and then they get cold too. They're straight 500. So I mean, we just hit them at one of those bad points. I guess it could be considered a little more competitive.
I have some statistics here to kind of back up my point about things being a little more competitive. So this season, when the home team is the underdog, they've won about 48% of their games, which, it's 50-50, right? Well, yeah. In the past 20 seasons, that stat, they're only winning 34% of their games. And that's a pretty big jump.
14% is a considerable jump. Yeah, I'd call outrageous like doubling, but that number can only get higher this year, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then another stat that interesting is the largest point differential in the entire league right now are the Celtics at plus 6.3 and the Grizzlies at plus 5.3. In the last few years, I think there's been a few teams that had double-digit point differentials.
Nothing outside of like plus 20, right? I think it's mainly like plus like
I've seen
12,
like 11 or
15 maybe.
12, I think is the most typically I've seen. But that's like, this is
That's
like
cut in
half. Right.
Yeah. It's interesting to see, Alex. I think we've seen a lot more movement in the last couple of years too. I wonder if that plays into it.
You mean movement of talent, or what do you mean?
Yeah, talent, not like teams moving, but like
Right.
talent signings, acquisitions. Let's and speaking of points, Alex, let's kind of lead into this here. LeBron James leaves the Cavaliers and now he's with the Lakers, and he is on pace to break Kareem's scoring title this year, Alex. He surpassed 38,000 career points just a little while ago, and is now only 363 points short of Kareem. LeBron is averaging 29 points per game this season, so I think we're looking around 13-ish, 14-ish games for him to break this.
This season, for sure, unless load management kicks in really bad.
Oh, yeah, barring like a horrible like ACL injury or something. It'd be terrible if that happened to LeBron, right?
Come on now. We can't be acting like that.
Okay. All right, my bad. Sorry, just a little bit of slander. I mean, and maybe this is more of a question for you, Alex, because I know my stance on this. Some people are thinking, does this bring up the question, does this have anything to play into with the LeBron versus MJ debate?
If it does, it's a very slight amount. I think his story's been kind of written at this point, unless somehow he wins like 2 more rings. But I don't see that happening with his current team, and I don't really know where he goes. Who's going to take on his contract?
Unless he decides to take a pay cut, but that's a trend across all sports. No one takes a pay cut just to stay where they are or to play with certain people. They're all too greedy about the money.
As for the whole like LeBron MJ debate, I've watched a few videos on this whole debate, and kind of the like scientific answer to this question is LeBron is like 95% of the player that Michael Jordan is, but he's been doing it for longer. So like,
yep,
you got to ask yourself, are Michael Jordan's highest peaks worth more than LeBron's 95% for a longer career?
I would say it's more important to win now and win fast, and that's where I would take MJ over LeBron. LeBron has been not so much a developmental player. Look at his championship rosters. He's had multiple All-Stars alongside him. I mean, MJ had Pippen for the most part of his career, and that was pretty much it.
Until he got Rodman.
Pretty much.
I think Jordan carries teams, whereas LeBron pushes or leads, however you want to word it. He kind of directs. He's the orchestrator of teams,
That's fair. Whether it's through tampering or just lucky that he came to LA.
And got Anthony Davis somehow.
Yeah. But no, I don't think this changes the debate at all, to answer the question.
Your team MJ still.
I mean, 6-0 is kind of hard to pass on.
That is true, and
it's not like going to 10 Super Bowls and winning 7 out of 10 of them.
Right, nothing like that, of course.
No, and MJ's never lost, man. Like it's so crazy to have that stat to be undefeated when it matters the most.
How are you ever gonna have that happen again? Like, I don't know if you really can.
It's such a strange phenomenon, and it's just the playoffs for no matter what sport are supposed to be anything can happen. But when MJ was playing, it was MJ can happen, MJ can win. That's it.
I mean, and like we just talked about, the whole level of competition in the league leveling out more. It'd be a lot harder to win like three-peat in this current league than it would be back then if the team.
It's sure. It's been different since. When was the last three-peat? Technically, the Heat.
The Heat have a three-peat with LeBron?
I think he came in after the two-peat.
No, that's right.
And then he got them.
Because LeBron won 2 with Miami, 1 with Cleveland, and 1 with LA. So he's never had his own three-peat.
He's never had his own three-peat, but he was part of that, the end of that three-peat in Miami. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
He at least was back-to-back in Miami. And then he's got the Mickey Mouse in LA.
The bubble championship.
I think that was pretty BS, Alex, as far as that goes. But I think you've got some other BS you want to talk about.
I do. I want to talk about some BS trade rumors going around the NBA because we are approaching the trade deadline. It's February 9th, which is just under a month away now, so we got to start thinking about that. A lot of times, before a trade deadline, you start hearing rumors about players that are unhappy or teams wanting to go after a certain player. Just stuff that people like Adam Schefter's NFL, like Woj. Woj will put something out there. I'm going to go through some of the bigger ones, and you and I are going to decipher if, these trade rumors are BS or if there's some actual possible moves going on here. So I have 3 of them. I think are probably 3 of the biggest names are going around the trade rumor mill. First one, D'Angelo Russell on the Minnesota Timberwolves. There's been rumors that Timberwolves want to ship him out. I will say he is not quite living up to his $31 million per year contract. I will start with you. What do you think of this, rumor that the Timberwolves want to part ways?
It's where are they at as far as standings? That's really the question.
So right now, the Timberwolves currently set at 8th in the West at 500 even. 500 team.
Okay, so they're looking for a push to change it up.
So does getting rid of D'Lo and getting someone in his place, does that help your team get over that 500 mark?
It depends on who they acquire. I could see them moving on from that big of a cap hit. It's who can absorb it, really.
Right.
Or who you getting in return, and who's willing to take that on is the hard part. Because who you targeting here? I mean, you targeting to get someone from like the Thunders, from that young team? Are you going after? I don't see them trading with anyone above them. Is the problem? I'm trying to see where D'Lo would fit, and the Thunder makes the most sense, at least in conference. Out of conference, Wizards don't have anyone notable to trade for. Maybe the Raptors?
Like Siakam?
I could see that. I feel like that might make a difference in Minnesota.
It wouldn't make a difference in Toronto. I don't know why they'd really want to do that move. Unless Minnesota eats some of that cap.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Minnesota's going to have to eat some of that.
That's like a gross contract. Like, D'Lo he's definitely not worth $31 million.
Not this year. I mean, he's been a halfway decent player in the past. I think he's fallen off a little bit.
So this season, he's averaging, looks like 17 points a game. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. But it's bad compared to other people at his position, though, for that price point.
Well, and you got to think, too, maybe they want to move on from him just because they took on Gobert's contract, too. And that's a lot of money to pay 2 centers.
The problem is I don't know where he'd end up. I believe it, but also I know there's nowhere for him to go. Unless Minnesota eats the contract, and that's rough to do.
So we're saying no BS here. Like, this makes sense.
It makes sense for them to move on, but I don't see him going anywhere.
All right. And then moving on to our next player here. We've talked about him some before. John Collins on the Atlanta Hawks, currently making $23 million a year, scoring 13 points per game. What are your thoughts on this possible trade?
It's another 500 team. You know what? I'm going to call BS.
Call him BS, huh?
I think he's part of that Hawks organization. He's part of that rotation. 13 points a game, not that bad. I mean, 23 million. It's not 31 million. I feel like that maybe they could restructure that contract. Maybe depending on how stats go, and maybe he's more of an off-season move.
Yep.
If anything, but I don't think he's a trade deadline target.
Like with John Collins, I know he's been whining a little bit, but I think it's just that classic case of your team's not winning games and you're getting frustrated.
Yeah, that happens everywhere.
Kind of BS here. I think we both can agree on that.
Yeah.
He's not going to go anywhere. And then this last one, this guy moves around quite a bit. Jay Crowder on the Suns. I don't think he's played a single game this season. I can check for sure, but I'm pretty sure he said before the season that he was going to sit on the bench because he wanted out of Phoenix.
Playing with D-Book and Chris Paul? You want out? And Anthony? Is that the center? The big
DeAndre Ayton. Yes.
Ayton.
Yep. He has not played a single game this season. He's just been riding the pine. And I've heard that there are a couple teams that are interested in him. One of them is actually Milwaukee.
I could see him in Milwaukee. He's, again, strictly a bench role. Actually, you know what? I could see him... Well, of course, he's a former Celtic. I could see him returning to the Celtics. I don't know how he fits into that. Since he hasn't played a game this season, I'm not going to call BS. That is a mobile guy. He's been around. He's not like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's played for half the league, but, he's been very mobile in his career. He just kind of goes and performs.
I think he could definitely help a team. I just know he gets very... I think there was a series where Milwaukee was playing Miami, and Jay Crowder is just annoying. And same with the Suns, actually.
I would liken him to kind of a Lance Stevens. He's that annoying player you don't want to see. Just like rotational six-mans you don't want to see. Anyway, no, this is legit. I can definitely see, out of all the three you've given me, this is the most likely.
Well, there we have it. D'Angelo Russell, BS. John Collins, BS. And then Jay Crowder, we actually think pretty valid. Probably going to end up somewhere else by that trade deadline. All right, bouncing away from basketball, let's get into our football segment. What do you say to that, Vic?
I'm ready to juke on over to Super Wildcard Weekend. How about you, Alex?
Big time. Always Wildcard Weekend, full of a lot of big storylines. A lot of teams are playing for their lives out here. A lot of underdog stories. This weekend had its fair share, but the Seahawks unfortunately did not get to live out their underdog Cinderella story. Geno Smith had a great season, but in the end, the Niners win this game 41-23. Brock Purdy looking purdy.
He really is, man. That Shanahan offense has been super successful with him at the helm the last couple weeks, and it's going to be interesting going forward, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Trey Lance returns next season, and really how far they make it here. We'll get into their matchup for next week here pretty soon, but still a fun team to watch nonetheless.
They seem like such a stacked team. I mean, can you imagine if, not saying Brock Purdy's bad, he's obviously doing something right, but can you imagine if they had Patrick Mahomes on a Niners team? How insane that team would be.
That's like the 20-something Golden State Warriors, man. They had KD, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, prime Draymond Green.
Yeah, it's not even fair, really.
No, it's not. Not one bit. And this was the third time the Niners had beat the Seahawks this year. A little division rival there.
I think my favorite to come out of the NFC at this point, just that defense, man. I don't know how you really get past that.
I don't either. There's a lot of defenses you can't get past, or a lot of defenses that can't get out of their own way, Alex.
Oh my gosh.
Jags Chargers, the Saturday night game. Oh my goodness.
Where to begin?
27-7. I mean, we'll start at halftime, really.
Okay.
The first half, uneventful. Trevor Lawrence threw, 4 picks?
Yep, 4 picks.
3 to Asante Samuel. He had 2 all year and had 3 in the first half. Ridiculous. Great player. Once J.C. Jackson comes back, those corners working together, scary. And it was scary here at the first half. The Jags looked like they were just getting pounded and looking to make a first-round exit, but they hold the Chargers to 3 points in the second half and outscore them to win the game. It's a miracle, honestly. Trevor Lawrence never lost on a Saturday in his whole life. And a little fun fact, Tuesday, Joe Lombardi and the quarterback coach of the Chargers were fired, not Brandon Staley.
So they had to point the finger at someone else. They couldn't do it.
You're not going to point it at Herbert.
No.
Herbert played a great game, and there's a lot of people hating on Herbert, too, who say Staley and Lombardi shouldn't have gotten the blame, it should have been Herbert, which I thought is ridiculous. I thought the play calling was horrible, the absolute lack of drive and wanting to put away this game is horrible. I mean, theoretically, you should think 3 offensive touchdowns and 3 field goals should be enough to win a game, right, Alex?
You would think so, but apparently not. And Jaguars really were grinding their way back. No offense to Urban Meyer, but they
brother.
They definitely found a way to crawl back into that one. And watching that game, if Joey Bosa hadn't committed that penalty there, throwing his helmet, they might have not gone for 2.
Exactly. Like, this game's tied going to overtime.
Who knows? Could have been a totally different story. Trevor Lawrence pretty much just saved his reputation, I think. And honestly, really Justin Herbert didn't really take too much of a hit from this one because he still played decent.
No, he played honestly amazing. He really benefited from that defense. A little, I guess it's Tom Brady-esque. Defense got turnovers, stopped the team. He went down and put up points. But in the end, that defense collapsed. They were not the same after halftime.
Never lost a game on a Saturday, but what comes after Saturday, Vic? It's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
We had 3 games on Sunday. First one, noon game. Bills take on the Dolphins. And here, before we go into this game, you'd think, Josh Allen versus third-string quarterback Skylar Thompson.
I was ready for a stomping, absolute steamroll. Basically a bye week. Should have been.
It should have been, but the Dolphins did not go out easy. Skylar Thompson played pretty well, but it showed at the end there that he's obviously not a starting quarterback. They honestly should have won the game, I think.
Yeah, Josh Allen, costly turnovers. He's been doing it all year. You would think he'd have it under wraps by now. Now 19, or I guess technically 18 with the bye week. I guess technically he's only played 17, Alex. They never finished that one game.
That's true.
17 games through the regular season and post, and he's still turning over the ball in like the red zone on key downs, and letting this team crawl back in, not giving his defense a chance.
Well, yeah, because that Dolphins comeback all started before halftime. Even like they put up. Did they put up like almost 20 points before halftime, or did they?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, but they found their way back in, and if they had Tua, do you think they would have won the game?
I think we're having a very different conversation. The Dolphins make one less mistake with Skylar Thompson. We're having another discussion entirely.
We're talking about how the Bills choked away a playoff appearance.
I mean, they made this game look like a coin flip, Alex. I didn't think it was going to be that close.
No, I didn't either. It was, I'd say messy. I think messy is a good term for it.
Messy, I think, goes across the whole weekend. I mean, outside of that Niners game, everything was messy.
Yes.
This weekend. And another, I guess not so messy one, but another one-score game for the Vikings, Alex. Except they didn't play at noon.
That was it?
Yep. They lost. They are gone. The new nightmare Kirk Cousins played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he looked like good old 3 p.m. Kirk. Put up a fight. Giants win 31-24. But, no last-ditch effort for the Giants. No last-ditch effort for the Vikings. And he pulls his best imitation of Joshua Dobbs and throws a check down on 4th and 8 to TJ Hawkinson, 3 yards down the field, and loses the game.
It was pretty bad. The Vikings' defense was abysmal. It was tough to. Daniel Jones had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. And
that's when you know this team has turned a corner, Alex. They have looked dangerous, and actually I saw a stat. The Giants, every other year, when they make the playoffs, or like every other playoff appearance, it's been all or nothing, Alex. Fun fact.
Really? First round exit or a Super Bowl?
Pretty much.
Well, I have to say, I know they beat the Packers earlier in the season, and that annoyed me, but I can't help but kind of root for this team. Because they've been kind of bad for the last, they've been bad ever since Jones got there. And people kind of dismissed him right away.
The boat in Florida picture. Was that
2018? No, that was 2016. It's been a long time.
Jeez Louise. It's been 7 years since that, Alex. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. And I think what's even crazier is the resurgence or the revival of Daniel Jones' career here. And
true. Brian Dable, I know we said this last week, has been great for him.
Give him Coach of the Year.
Honestly, I mean, I could see Nick Sirianni stealing it, but it depends on how next weekend goes, really. And if maybe the Giants upset the Eagles at home, maybe Brian Daboll can take it.
Now with NFL, it's a regular season award though, like NBA, or does voting happen
Uh,
throughout the entirety of the season?
I think it's supposed to be a regular season award, but like, look here, Alex. People are biased.
Yep.
I don't care who votes or like if the people vote. It's like the NBA All Star. It all comes down to who do the producers want in the game, who do the producers want to win this award, and maybe Brian Daboll's a good feel story and he'll win it. This is definitely a conversation for the award show, and we're getting off topic here. Now, I think maybe playoffs have a little bias, man. You come in, you're favorited away, and you hold the line. You hold the. I'm pretty sure that was over the line for the game that Vegas set. Maybe that plays into it.
Yeah. Really good game. Actually, probably the best game of Sunday, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. I think the only rival was the game after that, Alex.
Yes, the game after that, which was not as good of a game, but still, pretty entertaining. We had the Ravens taking on the Bengals. Second best game of the weekend behind the Giants and Vikings, but still pretty entertaining. However, and I'll just get this out of the way, the Bengals do win this game 24-17. Joe Burrow playing against Tyler Huntley. You would think the Bengals should win by more, but the Ravens have a good defense. And I think that's something some people forget about.
Yeah, and I think John Harbaugh talked about this before the game, is that they were going to blitz every so often and kind of keep Joe Burrow unsteady. But the big thing was they were going to play zone and make him pick them apart. And that was kind of a struggle for Joe Burrow. And that Ravens pass rush is amazing, even against, I believe, it's a reshuffled Bengals line. I believe they lost someone right before the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. It's been interesting nonetheless to see. And it's definitely, I think, a better O-line than last season. I know they showed a graphic during the game. The quarterback sacked the most through its first 5 playoff games. Joe Burrow was up to 22 by the second quarter, I believe is when I saw that. And he was only 3 off of tying, and I'm pretty sure he got sacked at least 3 more times to tie that. It was a rough night behind the line. But that's been the Bengals thing, and we'll see where they go, where their pick ends up. Maybe this offseason that's really need to be the focal point. They've got all the skill players down. They just need to fix that O-line, and I think this team can do a lot better.
Yeah, give Joe Burrow more than 2 seconds in the pocket, and he'd probably look a little better.
Oh, I mean, any quarterback would look good with time. A quarterback who didn't have time, unfortunately, Alex. Monday night, Cowboys versus Tampa. Tom Brady was harassed by Micah Parsons. Absolutely destroyed.
I know you're a Patriots fan, and Tom Brady, a long history there. But man, it's hard to really say anything nice about how Tom looked last night. And I don't mean that in a mean way. He just did not play well.
I don't know if it's his fault, the players' fault. I mean, let's be honest. This team has had a mediocre season. I believe Byron Leftwich was also fired on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And they actually released that they had plans to part with him early in the season during the team's bye week. But I guess Todd Bowles, there we go, the head coach, decided to stick with it. Should somebody else have won the NFC South, Alex? Real quick question.
Should anyone in that division have won? I mean, you have Tampa.
No, I think I'd be happier with the Lions making it over Tampa.
That would have been way more interesting. The Lions would be a way better and more fun team to watch than anyone in the NFC South.
It definitely would have been.
Also, they should not have hosted a home playoff game. Come on. If you have a losing record, I understand if you win your division, that's how it works. But
man, I think the only thing more abysmal than that is Brett Maher. 1 of 6 on extra points, Alex. And the first kicker, they missed 5 straight in a playoff game. I believe there was a clip of Dak yelling at his coaches to go for fucking 2.
I've seen that clip.
Go for 2. And it was just, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, man, Brett Maher does not have a job at the end of the season. We'll see if he travels San Francisco this next week. This is, and I believe it was mentioned by some analysts, the yips are real. This, I think, qualifies as a yips game. Unfortunately, people don't believe in the yips. They just say if you don't perform, you're gone. I mean, look at Cody Parkey. He had a horrific end to that season, and then he got cut.
Yeah. I mean, they're lucky. Like, if this was even remotely a close game, this is all we'd be talking about are these extra points.
Exactly. And for the score for the people, because I don't think I mentioned it, Cowboys dominate 31-14. Absolutely abysmal. Great catch by Julio Jones there near the end. Does Tom Brady retire at the end of at the end of the playoffs, Alex?
You know, this has been talked about a lot throughout all of sports media ever since this game wrapped up, and I don't think he's going to retire. As crazy as that sounds, because I think, one, he's already divorced. He can't get divorced again this soon.
I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a process to go through to do that again, but
so you have that. But like, what does he have to lose at this point? If a team really wants him to play for them, who's gonna say no?
Yeah, exactly. And he's a very cap-friendly quarterback. I mean, these last couple years, he's played in Tampa. He's been
15 million.
20,
I checked.
Yeah, 15, 20-ish million. And, that's less than half of Aaron Rodgers' deal, less than half of Patrick Mahomes' deal.
Yeah, it's like a third. Imagine getting Tom Brady for a third of the price of Aaron Rodgers.
That is wild. I mean, considering his age, yeah, I agree with it. And he definitely looked like a $15 million quarterback this last year. How long does that deal at Fox ESPN last, you know?
I thought it was a 10-year, $375 million deal. Something like that.
And, well, I meant, how long is it going to be on the table? Is that just indefinitely on the table?
I am guessing that whenever Tom Brady decides to hang up the cleats, he can show up in the booth as soon as he's done. Now, I follow that with this question. So let's say he doesn't retire. What teams could you see actually having a shot at the Brady sweepstakes? Because I can only think of like 2 right now. But I want to hear what you think.
I'm going to take 3 teams. I got to think about the third, but the one that's been talked about the most, everyone's talking about San Francisco. I know it's crazy. They've got Trey Lance. They've got Brock Purdy. What in the world do they need another quarterback for? It has been talked about he could go to... I
was going to say Las Vegas, the Raiders.
Yeah,
they need a quarterback.
Las Vegas needs a quarterback with Derek Carr leaving. You've got Devontae Adams, a great wide receiver 1. A little bit better than Mike Evans. He's not a go up and come back down with the ball guy. He's a catch the ball and run after the catch guy, which is really what Brady loves.
And you got your Gronkowski replacement with Darren Waller. I was going to ask, how are the Raiders' offensive line, like compared to Tampa?
I think it's about even, if not maybe slightly better. It's not a big difference, I think, in my eyes. And, that's not to say with any cap money they have left over or any picks they have, that's not saying they can't trade up and get, a good offensive tackle in the draft or buy one in free agency with, the minimal cap hit from Tom Brady if he takes a deal like he's used to.
Mm-hmm.
And last, and probably the least likely, especially with Bill staying another season, the Patriots. I mean, they've really upgraded that offense. Ramondre Stevenson is a wonderful James White replacement. That O-line needs a little bit of work and is still kind of old, but with a minimal cap hit, a decent, middle of the round draft pick, you can sneak an O-line in.
Do you think he might do that just so he can retire with the Patriots?
I mean, regardless, I believe he would like to retire a Patriot, kind of like Vince Wilfork. He signs a one-day deal and then retires. I definitely see that happening, but I'm sure Robert Kraft would love to have him back, no matter what Bill says. And they're looking for an actual offensive coordinator, and maybe you don't need one if you hire Tom. Tom can just call the fucking game.
Probably could.
I mean, he's been in the league, 23 years? It's about half his life now.
There's offensive coordinators younger than him. I think he could handle it.
Yeah, I mean, there's offensive coordinators as old as he's been in the league. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, enough about Tom Brady. I like all those personally. Is there a team you like, Alex?
Honestly, to me, like the most likely to me seems like the Raiders. Just situationally, they need a quarterback. Niners don't really need a quarterback, and the Patriots. I don't know if Bill Belichick's ready to swallow his pride and have Brady come back. So I'm going to go with Las Vegas.
After all that division moving around, and Alex, I think it's time to talk about the divisional round.
Absolutely. Let's get the ball rolling
Starting
here.
off with a banger this Saturday, Alex.
Absolutely. Jaguars are taking on the Chiefs this Saturday at 3:30. Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game on Saturday, as we said before.
That's true.
So, thoughts on this game? Any predictions you have in mind?
It depends on if you get that second half Jags defense or that first half Jags defense. They can make this game close if it's the second half Jags defense. I think Kansas City has a little more of a complete team. That defense is very comparable to the Jags. I think a little bit worse, but I think they can contain Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence and hold their own. And I'm taking the Chiefs. I don't want to get into scores or anything, but I think the Chiefs will squeak out.
Do you want to give a guess on spread? Like how much they'll win by? Like it's gonna be
no
close.
More than 7.
Okay, so within a score.
Within a score, 1-score game.
All right, close game. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, how can you bet against Patrick Mahomes? It seems like the Chiefs should definitely take care of business with this game.
Yep.
And I know the Jags had their little insanity run against the Chargers in the second half of that game, but I think the inexperience of this team is gonna eventually show itself, and it's probably gonna happen this Saturday. I'll take the Chiefs by 10. I think they're gonna take care of their business, no problem.
Another wonderful game and a NFC East matchup, Alex. The Giants versus the Eagles. Saturday night, Eagles coming off a bye. Jalen Hurts had his little tune-up game at the end of the season. He had a bye week this way to rest in rehab. I'm assuming he'll play, and definitely, I think, show why he is the lifeblood of that Eagles offense. And I think this is going to be an interesting game, Alex. You saw what the Giants could do to the Vikings, who've been fraudulent all year, and I think this is a 10 times tougher challenge. Would you agree?
I would agree. It's a tougher challenge, but there's something about this game that just screams trap game, and I don't know what it is. It's just like an irky feeling. Like
it's the division rematch, man. It's the Giants got stomped. I know they played their second stringers there at the end of the season against Jalen Hurts to win the division, and they just I don't know. They got swept in the regular season, and it's hard to 3-0 a team unless you're the Niners playing the Seahawks.
Right.
But it's gonna be interesting. I think this is another team off a bye. They're gonna look a little rusty. It's gonna be close. I think you're right. I think it's gonna be kind of a trap, kind of grinded out game. I'm still taking the Eagles plus like 10 though.
Okay, so you're expecting Eagles to be no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it'll be close in the first half, and they'll pull away near the end, and it'll be at least plus 10.
I am smelling an upset. The way that the Giants went out and beat Minnesota on the road. I know Minnesota's not a great team. We know that.
No,
but man, coming off of a win like that has to like boost your morale to some degree, right? Like it's got to get you in the mindset that you're playing football. I can't help but feel the Eagles have been kind of coasting the last couple weeks now. I mean, they had the bye week. They had their joke of a game against the Giants earlier. I just don't know if they're mentally sharp going into this game. So I'll take the Giants by 3. I think it's gonna be a very close game.
And that wraps up Saturday, Alex. You want to move on to Sunday?
Yeah, let's move on to Sunday. We have a big AFC matchup here. The Bills are taking on the Bengals this Sunday at 2 p.m.
Huge game.
So this is the rematch that won't be a rematch.
That game of Damar Hamlin not being fully played. You don't know what you're expecting. That was supposed to be the preview to this game.
It was.
Now we've got nothing. So this is gonna be fresh.
Fresh slate here. I think the Bengals match up better against the Bills than they did with the Ravens. We shall see. I mean, maybe the Ravens gave a blueprint to the Bills on how to try and beat the Bengals. But what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, you've got the two, I guess, messiest home teams playing here from last weekend, and I think it's going to come down to whoever makes less mistakes. I think you're right. The Ravens gave the blueprint to the Bills. You play a nice, hard zone. You make Joe Burrow try to beat you, and I think it's going to be a nice, grindy game. I think super similar to the Eagles and Giants. There's going to be a team that just kind of falls down at the end, right before the finish line, and the other team's able to pull away and makes it look completely different than it was. As much as I like Joe Burrow, man, I'm going to take Josh Allen this game by 4 points. It's going to be close, and then they're going to kick a field goal to force the Bengals to try to get a touchdown at the end.
I have to roll with the Bengals. They're my AFC team right now. Joe Burrow has shown up in big moments, except on the last 5 drives of that Super Bowl appearance, but that was last year. This is a new day. I think the Bengals will figure it out a little better. They just didn't seem to be clicking well last game. I'll take the Bengals by 3. I think this is going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a great game. It's going to be the game of the weekend. Sad it's not a primetime game, though, Alex, and neither is the next game, which I thought was kind of weird. Cowboys-Niners is Sunday at 5:30.
That is a
Why
weird
is it so
time.
early?
Yeah, I don't know.
Niners have 2 extra days to prep, and Dallas was complaining after their win that they had to travel to San Francisco, and they're going to lose 2 days of prep after traveling home and then traveling to San Francisco. The Niners are going to have 2 extra rest days, and to that I say maybe you should have just been the in-and-out team. Maybe you should have just lost on Monday. It's that's how it goes. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Imagine winning your first road playoff game in, what was it, 30 years? Almost?
Yeah.
And then you turn around and just say, oh no, Niners have had more time to prep than us.
I don't know. It's ridiculous, honestly. I believe Andrew said it best last week. We're going to watch 2 teams we don't want to win lose in horrible fashion 2 weeks in a row, and I'm going to take the Niners in this game, Alex.
Me too. I can't really...
give me Brock Purdy by 1 million. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys played well, but Tampa's defense was so bad. I mean, anyone could have dropped 30 on that team. Niners have not allowed, they've only allowed more than 20 points, less than a quarter of their games. It's just something super, super ridiculous. 2000 Ravens, good.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 2 decent defenses showing up here, Alex, but I think that the Niners are going to use those 2 extra days of prep and absolutely destroy the Cowboys. Who cares? I am set. I mean, we've been set all year to keep this team out of any sort of conversation we've ever had.
Good. Yes, I would agree. I will also take the Niners. I'll take them by a touchdown. I think Dallas might have a garbage time touchdown with the clock running out towards the end of the game, but the Niners will just Christian McCaffrey the ball to the NFC Championship game.
That's fair, and we'll preview those next week, Alex, and maybe we should do some NFL awards with that game.
Definitely,
we'll see.
Definitely, a lot of awesome games coming up this weekend here, and I want to get into something else that's awesome: our gaming section of the podcast.
Oh, as always.
You guys know, viewers at home, but Awesome Games Done Quick, or known as AGDQ, AGDQ. It's very popular among the speedrunning community. They raised $2.6 million for charity this year. Their annual event, they feature 150 different speedruns. There are 4 broken records this year. And they raised all that money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. And some of those games they ran include Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Steven Seagal is the final option. I've never heard of that one, but okay. And then my favorite, Power Wash Simulator.
How do you speedrun Power Wash Simulator?
Actually, I've looked into this. You can... so basically, there's a certain amount of, missions. You have to wash this car.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Right. So you wash it as fast as you can. And I don't know what the pro strats are for Power Wash Simulator speedrunning. I guess just wash as fast as you can, but...
I did not think Power Wash Simulator would be a speedrun game. I have to look into those.
You would be... any game that has a potential to be speedrun is probably being speedrun somewhere.
Well, here's the problem. Every game can be speedrun.
Pretty much. Some games are very, very, very long, There are some though that even though they're long, people found ways to exploit them and make them really short. Like I
Well,
think
look at what was it? I mean, probably the biggest speedrunning game, and that's mainly due to glitches and or stupid saves, or I guess have I said glitches already? Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Skyrim was a classic for that. I mean, have you ever done the horse launched across the map because it took you like literally an hour to cross the map?
I've seen that where there's like a certain setup and it saves you a ton of
Yep.
time getting across the map. Yep.
It's like a 2-minute trip rather than like an hour, and it's crazy. Or there's the bucket V clip to get into a door, so you don't have to get the key.
Yeah.
The people who do this are crazy and honestly know way too much about the game. You know, I highly recommend Zelda Breath of the Wild speedruns because the starting area, the tutorial takes so long. People just clip outside of it, and you literally have to get it pixel perfect or you die. Is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I've seen a lot of Zelda speedruns. There's like Ocarina of Time is a very popular speedrun. Wind Waker is a big speedrun for a while. But side tangent. Speedrunning's really cool.
Speedrunning's cool. Maybe we should do a speedrunning segment, Alex.
Ooh, speedrunning segment.
Alex, should we do a speedrun for stream? Question mark.
Like just do some runs in for speed. Ooh, that'd be fun. I'd have to find a game that I'd want to speedrun. Probably something that's like usually like a 20-minute run. Something quick I could do over and over. Try and get better at. And quick shout out to Summoning Salt and Speed Docs on YouTube. Go check them out. They make a lot of really, really good speedrunning documentaries.
Small Ant as well.
Also yes, Small Ant is also very good.
Off of that little tangent, Alex. Speedrunning fun. What's not so fun, Alex? AI art companies are being sued.
Not surprised.
Really? You're not surprised? All right. Well, let's get into this a little bit. Stability AI and Midjourney, two of the biggest names in the current exploding field of AI-generated imagery, and portfolio site DeviantArt have become the targets of a class action lawsuit in California on behalf of the artists. Now, Alex, I think AI artwork has been incredible to see. It's incredible to see people program this stuff. It's incredible to see it come as long as it has. What do you think about it?
You know, it's something that has come up within the last, I'd say, year or so, is when it became very accessible to everyone.
Year and a half. Yeah, I think that's fair.
You know, I think it's one of those things that many people have made memes about it. Like on Reddit, for example, there's so many people that post the typical, 4 pictures of some input for like an NFL team. And they're like, oh, look what I made a AI art of these 2 teams that are going to play, like stuff like that. Yep. And at first it was really cool. I think it's starting to get a little bit drawn out and overdone, but like it's really cool. Oh. The cool factors is sort of worn off a little bit. But
and I think that's due to the problem of it being a quote unquote exploding field. So everyone tries to build their views, build their quote unquote following by following the trends. And just jumping on the train until it dies and then finding the next one.
But as for this lawsuit specifically, so this is actual artists are irritated with AI art generating programs because they probably feel like they're being displaced. I've seen a lot of these different artworks from AI, and it's one of those things that like it looks really cool when you look at it all in one. Like if you do look really close at it, a lot of times like you can tell it's not human. I think you could use I think AI generated art would be a really good way to generate ideas for an actual artist maybe to do. I mean, I think it's good enough art that it could pass for a lot of uses, maybe an advertisement or something. As for like a lawsuit, I just don't know what grounds like these people really have to stand on. I mean,
yeah, it's not like it's impeding their work per se.
The only argument I could say is like, I don't know where the AI retrieves its information from, because technically any art like online that you publish that's technically copyright. That is technically how it works. So therefore, if this AI is taking a whole bunch of different published artwork and using that data, because it's technically data, as a reference to generate its own artwork, maybe you have a basis, but then it's like, what? So then regular artists who learned from looking at other stuff, I mean,
yeah.
that's how they learned how to make their art too. So at what point do you draw the line saying like, well, people can do this to be creative, but it's not creative apparently for an AI program to generate artwork on its own.
Yeah. And as far as competing with it, I don't see where I'm with you. I don't see what the competition is. I feel like this is a little bit of an over exaggeration. I mean, I'm not shocked it's in California.
Right.
Take that as you will, YouTube.
Okay.
Shocker, it's in California. But I think AI art has been a wonderful development, and if art, there is some art that's copyright. There is some art that is free use. I mean, the whole point of it being out there is to be seen, and I think as long as you get your accreditation, if your stuff is quote unquote used, what's the problem with it? You're credited, and if people want to know where it got its basis, they'll end up checking out your content. And I mean, and this is getting a little off topic, but look at TikTok. A lot of spam accounts repost content that's done already. They're reposting episodes of shows, they're reposting, parts of YouTube videos. And actually, Mr. Beast has commented on this. He loves people reposting his content.
It's advertisement.
It's free advertisement.
Yep.
People don't want to watch, 10 clips to see this video. If they're going to watch the first one or two, get interested in it, and then go watch the whole video, which brings them to his channel and brings a view to him and, maybe a subscriber or whatnot, and that's revenue for him. And I feel like that could be applied to the artwork. I mean, the only thing I can see this going is the artist gets their accreditation if their material is used.
I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for the artists. Like I do. Like I feel bad if like they're actually losing,
Yeah.
work.
This was their quote unquote job. I'm with you.
And speaking of losing their job, Vic, let's get into another big topic that's been happening. I don't know. Have you heard about this stuff going on with Justin
I
Roiland?
have heard the stuff going on with this. This is interesting.
It's a hot topic. I thought, I said in the podcast last week I wanted to talk about a little more drama around kind of the YouTube culture.
Oh yeah.
Populous.
Brand new game that just hit the market.
Right. So
everyone's talking about it.
Before we keep talking behind the scenes about it from our viewers, I'll just let it all out for everyone. So High on Life developer Justin Roiland faces domestic violence charges. That's the first thing. So the domestic violence charges, as you know, he is the creator of TV series Rick and Morty, and he is also part of the High on Life game that just came out, and I'm actually doing a playthrough on right now. Kind of ironic this all happened at the same time.
Sucks, but also at the same time, good series. Go watch.
Good series. It's a fun game. It's funny, and anyway,
I've loved watching it. I gotta download it.
It's free on Game Pass. Definitely worth it.
Hashtag not an Xbox partner. Hashtag sponsor us.
Right. Hashtag sponsor us. We're plugging your game, please. But anyway, Justin Roiland had a protective order filed against him in October of 2020. So basically, he can't harass, threaten, survey, or be within 100 feet of this ex-girlfriend of his. And it also made him relinquish all ownership of firearms that he owned or possessed. That's the first thing. Which, obviously, doesn't look great. Doesn't look great.
All standard stuff.
Standard stuff. So the next disturbing thing is he got caught doing some no-no things with a 16-year-old fan of his.
Oh, God.
So apparently she was complaining about having class to go to the next day, as we all do when we're in high school.
Yep.
To which Justin Roiland suggested to her that she should run away and go into human trafficking, because I can't say the actual words. He also used an assortment of foul language as well as some racial slurs before implying that he just meant those comments as a joke and it's all good. And
how do you
and
type
apparently
that thinking it's a joke?
I don't know, but apparently then he further messages showed he wanted to meet up with this person in real life, and repeatedly returning to themes of naughty nature. So a lot of Rick and Morty fans are pissed, like boycotting the show, pissed. So
I mean,
there goes season 5 or 6 or whatever they're on now.
rough. You hear about this through so many things, and you're just surprised, and then it continues to just surface.
As someone, like, this sounds bad, but in terms of like celebrities that it would surprise me or not surprise me that something like this would come up, based on like the humor in High on Life and Rick and Morty, it's just like terribly surprising to us.
I think that's the real problem. It's not.
It's like the messed up quiet kid that sits in the back of the classroom, and you're like, oh, they're kind of they're funny and weird, but they're cool, and then they like turn out to not be cool.
Yeah, all right. Manual view, please don't flag us for that. And other news, Alex, it's also not a shocker? People finding a way to cheat.
In a game, I assume? Yes.
In a game, Alex.
If there's a way to cheat, they're gonna find a way.
And you know what is surprising though, Alex?
What's that?
It's not Warzone.
We're not talking about cheating in Warzone for once?
We're not.
Shocker.
Alex, I could probably give you about 5 guesses if you didn't know what I was about to say, and you probably still wouldn't be able to guess this game.
No, definitely not.
I'd like our viewers to take a minute. Don't step away from the video. I'm going to give you like a second and a half here. I want you to guess down below what game you think I'm going to do. Use hashtag quick chats and or something cool. Actually, Alex, it is Rocket League.
I was as shocked as you.
People are cheating in Rocket League. If you haven't seen anything about this, or if you haven't heard about what I'm about to say, I highly recommend you do some research on it, because it's actually a really interesting program. It's a Rocket League bot called Nexto, and it is good. It is I don't want to call it AI, but it kind of is.
It used machine learning to get good.
Yeah, it uses machine learning. It is, if you go to Lethamir, Sunless Khan, any of the big Rocket League YouTubers, they've done a video on this Nexto bot. They've done 1v1s with it. They've done Lethamir's 1v3 to this bot. It was, and he lost horribly, obviously. But he was able to 1v2 them. It's still not good at air flying perfectly yet. But the fact of the matter is, it has great positioning, great ball control. It knows what you're doing before you know what you're doing. And that's the scary part.
Well, and I believe this bot, like, the reason why it's a problem now is because bot used to be kind of a private thing. Right. It was only for training. The code was all private, wasn't an issue. People are just using it for fun. But I believe the code kind of did get leaked or something, and now the bot has appeared in like public lobbies now. Like people are actually using the bot.
So, I don't know how it's done, but people, I think it's mainly through Bacchus. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's more on the PC side of things. For you professional Rocket League players who know what you're doing on PC. I believe it's through Bacchus mod, and I don't know if it's people loading in Nexto like with them, but they're loading in the bot with them to play online matches and basically elo grind. And people are running into this, and they're just losing their Nexto because it's just too good. Sunless Khan put out a tweet today at the time of recording. Actually, he is mad at himself, Alex, for even supporting the spot. He's like, I thought it was a really good idea at the time. I thought it was an interesting, thing that might help people get better. I should have known people would have used this to cheat. I should have known people would use this in the game. And I hate that I even brought it to light now. And it's crazy to see that kind of duality, because if you look back, you'll see him talk up this bot, you'll see him play this bot. People used it for content for weeks. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the coolest new things in Rocket League, and now it's come to this.
Well, for the longest time, everyone was like, "Oh, there's no way you can make a bot for Rocket League because Rocket League is such a complex game. Like
it is.
It's in 3 dimensions. It's a whole lot of physics involved. Yep. You wouldn't think that you'd have a bot that could actually play very well.
No, the code alone, I think, it's got to be in the thousands of lines by now, right, Alex?
With machine learning, probably. It only gets smarter. Yeah, it's a head scratcher. It's really
I don't know.
kind of a dud for the community.
It is, Alex, and I think we're getting to that point where we got to move on.
We got to move on to our studs and duds segment. We've been waiting for this all episode now. We have a lot of good studs and dud potentials this week. So I'm actually gonna go first this week. I'm sorry, I might take your stud and your dud. We'll see.
We'll see.
My stud, it has to be Brock Purdy. He has been amazing. He's never lost as a starter. He had a passer rating of like 133. I mean, he wins games. He's played better than Jimmy G really ever has with San Fran. I don't even know what you do next season.
Crazy.
What do you do next season? If Trey Lance comes back, you really gonna be like, oh,
well, Jimmy's set to hit the free agent market. Brock Purdy is a wonderful number 2. You'd like to try out Trey Lance. There's a reason you drafted him so high. I'm sure they'll have a quote-unquote QB competition.
there has to
But Trey Lance too again, he full-on break his foot?
be. Yeah, he broke his foot in like, what was it, the 3rd week or something? It
Yeah.
was really early.
So he might be set to return right at the beginning of next year. You got to think, depending on Trey Lance's injury status as far as next year goes and his rehab, Brock Purdy will get the start, obviously, if he's still injured. But I would assume there's going to be some sort of quote-unquote QB battle.
So Brock Purdy stud. My dud, I'm gonna say Kirk Cousins.
Ooh.
For a couple reasons. Well, the main reason I'm making him my dud is on 4th and 8. Why are you throwing 3-yard dump to your tight end who is covered? What are you doing? This is like Joshua Dobbs. You play the frickin' sticks. I'm not mad. Like, I'm happy that the Vikings lost, but it's like, how stupid. Like, was no one... Like, at least throw a contested pass to maybe get your first down.
And why isn't TJ Hawkinson out at the sticks at a minimum? Why is he only that far out?
He did get kind of pressed up.
It's
awareness.
The season's on the line. You're in the 2-minute drill, and you've got 8 yards to go. You better be a minimum of 8.5 yards downfield.
If you want to call it an upset, sure.
No,
I don't. I really
I'm
thought Giants
pretty sure they were underdogs at home.
Pretty sad. They are the lowest point differential for a 13-win team.
Yeah, I believe they're like -8 with this game or something ridiculous.
I saw a stat where it's like Vikings are like -8, and then like the next closest ones, I think the Packers were on this list, but they had a differential of like +68. Like they were still like way positive.
I thought the Packers were -1 this year, but I could be wrong.
No. I'm 13 wins. Like 2 years ago or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think I know where your dud's going because like it's the elephant in the room.
It is, and we've talked about it already. I'm not going to put it on the organization as much as I'm going to put it on the man. Brandon Staley is my dud. It is tragic that you come out and score 3 points after halftime. Your defense gives up 31. You lose a playoff game in your second year as head coach. Your only playoff game as a head coach, by the way, in 2 years. Which, I mean, not that bad, but also, like, it's bad when you look at it specifically and break it all down. I don't know what uninspiring, horrible things you did in that locker room at halftime, but your team came out flat and got rolled. And it was awesome to see Trevor Lawrence flip it around. Almost to the point where I feel like I have to do this now, Alex. I feel like I have to put Trevor Lawrence at my stud.
Respectable.
First quarterback to overcome a 5+ differential with a 93.9% chance to lose that game by turning it over 5 times in the first half, or 5 times all game. And it is just, that's incredible. First quarterback to throw for 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions since Ben Roethlisberger back in 2000-something. I think this is a scary team. I think the Bills are very lucky the Ravens won their game. Otherwise, they'd be playing this team. And after the Bills looked like they were giving away their game to the Dolphins.
These teams don't look as for sure as we had thought.
No, they don't. And but it is what it is. Anything can happen in the playoffs.
Well, you got to think, like, if the Dolphins can only lose by 3 against the Bills, what about, and that's with like third string quarterback still putting up 31 points. You have a competent Jaguars team with a good quarterback playing against the Bills. I'd be concerned.
I think the Bills are very lucky they're getting a shaky Joe Burrow team. Brandon Staley and just the man, Trevor Lawrence. Second time I've put him up here. He hasn't really let me down that bad.
Yeah, I can't disagree with those. Those are good picks.
You know what was a good pick, Alex? Our viewers watching this video, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for whether you're watching or listening. Everything you guys do counts. Please hit that like button. Please push the big red subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified when these videos go live. Make sure you put some love in the comments. Hashtag quick chats for next week. Ask us questions, things you want to know about us, things, sports topics, if you so wish, or gaming. We'll take gaming. We'll take, you know what? I'd be willing to take some viewer studs and duds, Alex.
I would too.
Maybe we should start opening that up. Hashtag stud. Sound good?
Yeah, I think that sounds good to me. Get the viewers involved. Share their
hashtag
hot
stud,
takes.
hashtag dud, guys.
There you go. I like that. Hashtag stud, hashtag dud. Share who you think sucked or did really well this week.
Let us know if we missed anything. And we'll see you on next week's episode of the Griefer Hour.